1979, when Jimmy Carter was president, disco ruled the pop charts, and I had hair. It was in that same year that one of Italy's most famous UFO incidents took place. And more than 4 decades later, we're still talking about it. It's June 18th, 1979. Pilot Marshal Giancarlo Ciccone is flying his Fiat G91 reconnaissance aircraft, outfitted with 4 cameras. They're about to come in handy. Around 11:30 a.m., Ciccone receives a radio transmission indicating the radar crew at Istrana Airfield has detected an unidentified object at low altitude. When Ciccone encounters the object, he uses the aircraft's cameras to capture some of the most puzzling UFO photos ever taken.
It's this strange cylindrical shaped object. He says it sort of looks like a semi-squashed cigar. The sides of it are black, however, the middle section and the top are a slightly lighter color, and it seems to just be floating in the air.
Now, this object is reportedly 20 to 25 feet long and around 10 feet wide with a dull, dark surface. And importantly, the alleged craft seems completely unaffected by the turbulence thrown from the plane's formidable jet wash. When the object begins climbing, Ciccone pursues, speeding past it as he sets up another photo run. But when he returns, the object has vanished into thin air. Strange, sure, but this is nothing new for Italy.
Italy has a long history of UFO reports.
Pentagon whistleblower David Grush has recently reiterated Italian claims that Mussolini had a secret UFO program, which recovered at least 1 downed craft. Grush says that when the Axis fell to Allied forces, the Allies confiscated the alien craft and shipped it stateside. Sound incredible? How about another incident with a few thousand eyewitnesses?
One of the most famous cases in Italian UFO history occurred in 1954. There was a big soccer match in Florence, and a crowd of 10,000 people looked up and saw these strange objects flying over the stadium.
Some accounts claim the objects dropped a glitter-like substance, and others describe the objects as looking like, you guessed it, a Cuban cigar. But as MJ Banias points out, this cigar-shaped sighting has something others may lack.
This case has a lot going for it from a credibility perspective. One, you have a fighter pilot who knows the sky. He knows what should and shouldn't be up there.
All pilots are trained to be aware of their surroundings and to be on the lookout for something unusual. Plus, the pilots who flew the Fiat G91 reconnaissance plane had very specialized training to observe, record, and report with critical detail. Could we have a better witness? Let's see how our experts do with this one. Rich Hoffman of the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies begins his evaluation of Ciccone's sighting.
Nobody's had craft that are cylindrical like this, without wings, without any typical structures that we normally see on aircraft, but it has positive lift. There's no propulsion system on it, and yet it's up in the air.
And as astrophotographer Andrew McCarthy points out, it did manage quite a disappearing act.
One of the most peculiar things about this object, it went from being stationary in midair to vanishing without a trace. In order to accelerate out of this area that quickly, it would have to have some kind of propulsion that didn't exist in 1979 and certainly doesn't still exist today.
Some have speculated it could be a secret military test craft, but McCarthy doesn't see the logic.
You would think if this was some secret military craft, they would have known what it was and not sent a fighter pilot to go document it.
So we turn to another theory, that this object was a solar balloon.
This actually really closely resembles a solar balloon. Solar balloons are made with black materials so that they can absorb the sun's energy so that they heat up the air and begin to float.
As Hoffman points out, the balloon theory does also explain the sudden disappearing act.
When it disappeared off radar, was that because the balloon blew up and disintegrated?
But one piece of the balloon puzzle just doesn't fit: the object's stability in the face of Ciccone's roaring jet wash.
In order to not be affected by the aircraft's turbulence, this object would have had to be tethered from at least 3 different locations. That way it would be stationary in the sky and not move at all. Despite being photographed from multiple angles, not a single tether is visible in these photographs of this object. It's really hard to say for sure.
Our verdict? Genuine UFO. At first glance, everything about these pictures indicates we are looking at some kind of massive balloon. But the pilot's testimony about the object's bizarre stability in the jet wash poses far more questions than we have answers for.